It was a crisp autumn morning in the Scottish Highlands, as the Outlander crew gathered for a special event called Back to the Beginning, a journey back to the places that made the legend. And among the familiar faces, the two people everyone was looking forward to the most appeared: Sam Heughan and Katrina Balfe. They stepped out of the classic car together, Katrina's laughter echoing through the misty space. Sam walked beside her, holding an umbrella, gently shielding her from the tiny raindrops. The scene made everyone around them silent. It was like a film recreating the love of Jamie and Claire years ago. That morning, the two of them visited Doune Castle, the place that used to be Castle Leoch, where Jamie and Claire's love first began to blossom. As she passed through the old stone gate, Katrina gently touched the moss-covered wall, her eyes sparkling with emotion. "I remember every scene here. It feels like everything was just yesterday." Sam stood next to her, smiling warmly. "I still remember the scene where you slipped on this staircase. You almost fell, but luckily you caught me in time." Katrina laughed, glancing at him. "It's not because you're good at catching me, but because you're so used to saving me." Their laughter echoed through the ancient city walls, carrying a strange warmth. The crew, despite having witnessed the two of them together for many years, could not help but be moved. Perhaps, between Sam and Cait, that friendship was not just a professional bond, but a deep bond, strong over time. The next destination was Glencoe, the legendary valley that opened the first scenes of Outlander. White clouds drifted lazily, the wind blew across the vast green fields. Sam stood silently, looking out into the distance, at the mountain where he had filmed Jamie riding in the opening episode. "I remember the feeling when I first set foot here," he said softly. "At that time, I had no idea this place would become such a big part of my life." Katrina approached him, her eyes gentle. "Outlander changed both of our lives. But more importantly, it brought us together." Sam turned, his smile full of affection. "And so, even though everything has changed, I am still grateful." In that moment, amidst the majestic nature, the two of them seemed to be silent, not because of the memories, but because of the happiness of still having each other after all these years. In the afternoon, the group stopped by Craw na Dun, the iconic place where Claire traveled through time. Katrina looked at the giant, vertical rocks, her eyes filled with countless emotions. "Every time I come here, I feel like there is a miracle waiting for me," she said. "Not just in the movies, but in real life too. This is the place that opened up our incredible journey." Sam bowed his head slightly, his voice warm. "If I could really travel through time, I would go back to the day we first met. To tell myself, this girl will change my life forever." Katrina smiled, her eyes sparkling. "And I would tell myself, trust this man, because he will always be by your side, in both the script and in life." At that moment, the sky suddenly turned a gentle sun. The light penetrated the mist, shining on the two people standing next to each other, as if nature also smiled at a beautiful story. In the evening, the crew held a small party on the shores of Loch Lomond. There was whiskey, traditional Scottish cakes, and violin music. Sam and Cait raised their glasses, their eyes sparkling under the yellow lights. Katrina said in her speech, "We've been through a lot together, long seasons, cold days, laughter and tears. But when I look back, I only feel joy and gratitude." Sam continued, his voice low and emotional. "Memories never fade, they only get warmer with time. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Katrina, for creating the most wonderful journey of my life with me." The whole room applauded loudly. But amidst the noise, only the two of them looked at each other, smiling, a smile that contained all the things that didn't need to be said. The next morning, as they left the hotel, Katrina stood in front of the glass door, looking out at the misty hills. Sam walked over and placed a hand lightly on her shoulder. "Do you think we'll be back here?" she asked. "Of course," Sam smiled. "Because this isn't just where we work. This is where our hearts are. Katrina nodded and said softly, well, see you soon, Scotland. The trip ended, but the emotions lingered. The memories of their smiles, their eyes, and the footage became an inseparable part of their hearts, and the hearts of their fans around the world. Amidst the glittering world of fame, Sam and Cait maintained their simplicity, sincerity, and a rare affection, as colleagues and soulmates. That afternoon, the Outlander crew gathered on the shore of a Scottish lake, where Jamie and Claire's first scenes were filmed. The water was as calm as a mirror reflecting the sky, while Sam and Katrina stood side by side, silently watching the familiar scene. Do you remember? Katrina asked, her voice deep. The first time we shot here, it was pouring rain, and I couldn't remember my lines. Sam laughed, and you tried to act serious, but in your head you were thinking, am I shivering from the cold or is she looking at me like this? They both laughed, their laughter echoing in the peaceful space. Old memories flooded back, bringing them back to the early days, when everything was pure, innocent, and full of passion. After the shoot, they walked together around the nearby woods. No more cameras, no more spotlights, just two old friends and the vast nature. Sam picked up a yellow leaf and handed it to Katrina. Keep it. Call it a souvenir of a journey. Cait took it, her eyes shining with emotion. A long journey, and a beautiful one. The two stopped by an old rock, where the scene where Jamie and Claire said goodbye was filmed. Sam gently touched the rough surface and whispered, it all started here. And it also ends here. Katrina looked at him and softly replied, no, Sam. Beautiful things never really end. They just change form, just like us. That made Sam silent. In his eyes, a deep emotion flashed, the emotion of someone who had gone through a long journey, with tears, laughter and unrepeatable moments. In the evening, the crew held a small party. No noise, no luxury, just music, firelight and the people who had created the magic together. Sam stood up, raised his glass, to everyone who has been with Outlander to this day. But especially to Katrina, who helped me believe that Jamie and Claire were not just two characters, but the soul of this story. The whole audience applauded, and Katrina smiled, tears rolling down her face. She replied, and to Sam, the most wonderful companion. Without you, there would be no Outlander that the audience loves today. The two clinked glasses, their eyes exchanging a silent gratitude. It was no longer acting, it was true friendship, a rare empathy between two artistic souls. That night, when everyone had left, Sam and Katrina remained sitting by the firelight. She leaned her head on his shoulder and said softly, do you think, if one day we stop making movies, will anyone remember Jamie and Claire? Sam chuckled, yes, because they are not just characters. They are symbols of love that transcends time. And maybe, somewhere, there are still two people living their story. Katrina looked at him, her smile slightly sad. Maybe it is us, Sam. He did not answer, just squeezed her hand gently. The firelight reflected in their eyes, as if containing an entire era of emotions. The next morning, they said goodbye to each other before each returned to their own lives. Sam hugged Cait for a long time, the hug of two friends, two soulmates who together wrote a special chapter in television history. See you soon, Claire. See you soon, Jamie. Those two names sounded like a farewell to themselves, to the glorious years gone by. On the way back, Sam turned his head to look back. The sunlight was shining through the trees, where Katrina's figure was gradually disappearing. In that moment, he realized, the Outlander journey was not just a role, but a part of his life, a part that he would always carry with him, along with the smile of the woman who had written that immortal story with him. And as the sunset fell, in the peaceful scenery of the Scottish Highlands, a gentle wind blew. In that wind, it seemed like Jamie and Claire's laughter echoed, gentle, sweet and forever.